Welcome everyone, thank you for coming. My name is Robert Olifent. I see a few familiar faces in here, some regulars and some people that haven't been before, but welcome. What I'll do, just explain about the meeting, about what we do, what we are and what we're not. Sue and I run a small support group for people with cancer or even chronic illnesses. What we are not is, we're not doctors and we're not naturopaths, so we can't give specific advice. We never do that. We just share information to hopefully people can go home with that and they can look into these things for themselves to make informed decisions about what the right pathway is for them when they have illness. So what we basically do is to share the story of what we chose to do when Sue was given no hope with a 60 by 50 by 54 tumour which was on the liver, which was strangulating the bile duct tubes, and Sue was given no hope. So we share information because what we chose to do was, out of a lot of research that I'd done following the loss of my parents in 2008, and they died within 3 weeks of each other. My father with a brain tumour, my mum with it all over really. And so I witnessed some things that I was really uncomfortable with, and what it prompted me to do was basically to start researching all about what's going on here. What were all these contradictions going on? Why did they do this? And it more, I suppose, for my dad, the things that just weren't right, that I couldn't make sense of. And in that 2.5 years, I did a fair bit of research. And then Sue got quite poorly. She couldn't eat, she got stabbing pains in the stomach, and upon having a scan, she was found to have this tumour and some nodules on the pancreas, which we don't know what they were, but they were suspicious. But the doctor said that there was no hope. There's nothing, it was in such a sensitive area. I'm so very sorry. And Sue went out to buy £25 worth of goodbye cards. Quite a horrendous time having to tell your son of 15, 16 and your parents and people that you've got cancer and there's no hope. But what we had was an advantage basically of understanding a little bit about what was going on in the body. What was cancer? Not many people know actually what it is. And so having that pre-understanding as to the conditions that cancer needed to thrive, what we endeavoured to do was to create a body in which cancer found difficult to thrive on every level, because there's no one answer to cancer, as most people would know. It can be through many things that cause it. It can be emotional factors, stress factors, it can be viruses, it can be lack of nutrition, it can be deoxygenation, and it can be all these factors that come together in themselves. So our thoughts were to address things on every level, and that's what we did. So just backtracking a little bit, if anyone wants to go to the toilets, they're just out this door on the right-hand side, just for your information. If you want to get up and get a drink, then by all means. There's some water at the back as well for anyone. So that's basically our story. There's lots to that, but I don't want to waste too much time in that. A lot of you do know our story, and people can read it within our book. We don't charge for what we do, we don't charge for our meetings, we don't charge for lifestyle coaching. So that's not advice for anyone with cancer. As I said, that's illegal for us to give advice, and we don't do that. We just share information and point people to resources as well. So our book explains a lot of what we did, and our thoughts are that there's no single answer to cancer, and I think that's sensible to say that. But a lot of what we did, why wouldn't you do this anyway? You know, this is getting back to what I would class as God's diet. Fresh, local, organic. It wasn't even termed as organic, it's just food for goodness sake, without all the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, larvicides, growth stimulants, grain and nutritionally depleted soils. So there's going to be consequences of this. And it's even known, if you start digging, glyphosate is a category 2 carcinogen. It's known to cause cancer in animals, and it's thought to cause cancer in humans. So if that's the case, then if you've got cancer, doesn't it seem sensible to take out these carcinogenic components, these chemicals? It's not the answer to cancer, but don't keep fueling what fed it in the first place. Does that make sense? So we look to oxygenate the body. We look to juicing, we look to detoxification, supplementation, and so many things. And even the positivity that came from this, although Sue was climbing the walls, especially when we first started, literally climbing the walls, and I got it in the neck quite often. I can't have this and I can't have this. Well, these are staple foods. Why wouldn't you trust that brand name? Well, if it's coming from corporate goods, then corporations don't really care much about people's health long term. They're more concentrated on the shelf life rather than your life, because they can sell more and they have to satisfy the shareholders. That's not to say that there's any underlying evil intention in that. It's just the way the world works, that it's about profits, corporations about profits. So it's worth bearing in mind. So our story is not the same as Gerson therapy. What we chose to do is not Gerson therapy, but I think the foundations are very similar. Get good stuff in and get bad stuff out, and empower the body with everything that it requires, everything anti-cancer, everything that causes cancer, and there's many things that are well documented to cause cancer. So get those out of the equation. The problem lies is that people often don't know what causes cancer, and they've not done too much research, and they don't really know. And so they're left in this quandary when you've been diagnosed, that you don't know where to turn. Where do you go? What's right? What's wrong? There's so many contradictions out there. And if you go to your oncologist, pretty much what you'll be getting is radiotherapy, chemotherapy, and surgery. And we're not telling anyone not to do that, but understand what you're going into, and then you can make informed decisions, is my thoughts. So we've got a meeting here tonight with Patrick Vickers, Dr. Patrick Vickers from Gerson Therapy, who kindly came along and is going to give his time all the way from sunny Mexico. It's sunnier than here anyway. So that's what we've got lined up. We've also got lined up some powerful testimonies. Now, a couple of the testimonies we're not able to give fully here tonight. They were planned, but due to one thing or another, some of them aren't able to give those testimonies. But there are some people with powerful testimonies, and maybe they'd like to share. Ron, in a few moments, if you're happy to do that. So there's a raffle on this evening. This is just to outline the evening. We're going to go through the testimonies first, and then we'll outline, we've got the raffle, which people have maybe bought tickets, and we'll call that at the end. Now, we don't charge for what we do, so we speak to people all the time about what they can do to maybe stack the odds in their favour. And again, without advice, this is just information that we share. So we do that free of charge. We put on the meetings free of charge, and we have done for the last 5 years. And thankfully, we've not been prevented from doing that, which is good. Patrick's meetings have been all cancelled up and down the country. His 4 other meetings have been cancelled, which is a real shame, because of the amount of people that could have been helped with that. Yeah, it's really sad to think that that's happened. But we carry on. So if people want to meet up at any time, we meet up on either Skype, telephone, or in person at a place called the Mustard Seed. In fact, Chris is in this evening. Chris Starler, she helped us immensely when we were first going through it. when Sue had first been diagnosed. Chris sadly lost her son to cancer a number of years ago. I think he was 24, was he? Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Okay, it's 20 years this year since he passed away. But you knew some things then, and you achieved some amazing things, and they decided to put chemotherapy into him just in case. And sadly, the chemotherapy basically killed him. That's what you said, isn't it? That's what you told us. And so that was it was pressure from the family saying you have to do what the doctors say. And even your son he got railroaded into that way of thinking. Even when you'd done all the natural principles and he didn't have it, well, just in case, and then he died. But that gave Chris a real heart to help other people, and she shared information with myself. We've got Stella here, Stella Skidmore, and she's been to various meetings of ours and shared her testimony with her healing testimony, and your husband as well, his cancer healing testimony. So with knowledge, people can achieve amazing things that aren't being told in the actual cancer system. The answer to cancer is never in orthomolecular, which is basically food, diet, that's what they say. And it's not just about food and diet, there's so much more to it. It is mind, spirit, body and soul. I seem to remember a positive time when Sue and I were discussing things, and things were really bad at the time. And I'd got my arms around Sue in the kitchen, and I said, we're gonna do this, and you'd actually set your heart on these apricot kernels, that they were the thing. And I think that belief system as well, believing in absolutely.
Because I've been watching lots of Charlotte Gerson films.
Because she'd been watching a few Charlotte Gerson films, so bless Charlotte Gerson. Because you weren't up for this. When I put film on, usually it was a case of get that thing off, they sound funny. They've got funny accents, haven't they? But that moment was a real positive moment that I felt something changed, something switched. And I think that positivity is part of the healing process. So whatever you choose to do, believe wholeheartedly in what you're doing and go for it. Even if you do, sometimes it's necessary for surgery. And no one's saying don't do some of the treatments. I have a lot of reservations, which is why I said, do what you do, go in eyes wide open. Because if you've got a blockage in your windpipe, in your bowel, and that's life-threatening. So you need to maybe get the sledgehammer out. But 9 times out of 10, that sledgehammer may not be required. It does take time. This is not like chemotherapy. Natural principles take time, but we've got other people in here that it's going in the right direction. A gentleman that I just met a little earlier was just saying how well he's doing, and the tumour is shrunk. What was it? 30%?
Yeah,
30%. Yeah. So that's heading in the right direction. So why not continue what you're doing? But there's many people like this. I've got a list down here. I don't know whether Conal McNellis is in the room. He's not, but he's doing really well. I mean, it came back, but he's knowledgeable and he's put things into place. So I think it was kidney cancer. They cut out the kidney cancer. They gave him chemo, which almost killed him. He had no immune system. This is what he tells us, and we've recorded him at our meetings. So it went to his head, skin cancer on his head, stage 4, I understand. And he removed that, he got rid of that. Unfortunately, it went to his brain after that. Now he's doing really well with the brain cancer. We have a lady, I'll just refer to her as Christina. Christina, yeah, it is Christina. I won't say her second name. She was going to be here tonight, but she was a bit poorly with this flu thing that's going around, to share her testimony. And we met Christina at our meeting. It was December 2014 in Stapleford. And I think it's one that you arranged for us, Stella, is it that meeting there? And this lady had 2 brain tumours, and she had lymphoma. Her neck was virtually as wide as her head when I witnessed her. And she was going numb down one side, and she was in a pretty dire state. Now, there's a lady in this room that helped with that, and there's no names, no addresses, no anything like that. But she's in this room that assisted, giving guidance, giving support. And to cut a long story short, Christina no longer has the 2 brain tumours, and she no longer has cancer, lymphoma. Now, that's just how we found out about this, because we saw Christina. I spoke to her several times afterwards on the phone. She bought our book, but she went a whole lot better than that. She had a wonderful lady that guided her. She got certain oils from certain people, which actually gave it to her. So a lot of the people, they're not in it for money. A lot of the people we know, they're not in it for that. They're in it to help, and they gave oil away. And Sue noticed, this was about a year later, and we saw a film footage, which has been taken down for one reason or other. And we said, I recognise that lady.
Came running upstairs, didn't I? I was so excited.
Sue came running up the stairs. That's that lady from the meeting a year ago. Yeah, well, we won't go into what it was. But we were just absolutely over the moon, and we contacted her and said, yeah, she's still here. They actually took her 2 daughters off of her. Social services took 2 daughters off her because she was no longer able to take care of the daughters. She was a single parent. Maybe Christina's actually agreed to come sometime to share her testimony, and maybe we'll do that sometime. And there's other reasons why it can't be spoken about, because the lady of concern was suspended from her job. Anyway, we won't go any more into that. We have Kate Allison Shamarani, Patrick's fiance, and this is a strange, quirky thing. I used to go to school with Kate Allison Shamarani. She was 2 years younger than me. And the other quirky thing is, we have Ron Nixon here tonight, come all the way down from, where is it? Beverley, Yorkshire, and come to share his testimony. And you're the godfather of Kate Allison Shamrock, or something like that. Have I got that right? Something like that. You were there for her when she was younger, very much so. And Ron has turned his lung cancer around, the thing that you were given 4 months to live. And how long ago is that? 3 years?
It's 4 now.
4 years now. I'll tell you what, Ron, would you like to come up and share your testimony now? That is putting you on the spot, isn't it?
This is unexpected, this
Is it? We're horrible like that here. We just put on people all the time. But thank you for coming, Ron.
anyway.
Thanks for coming all this distance.
Pleasure. Yeah. Hello everyone. It's lovely to see so many people in, actually. 'Cause, I mean, me and Robert were talking about going back about 4 years ago when I first attended one of his meetings, and I think there was only about a dozen people there then, wasn't there? Then, I mean, look what we have here now. So it just goes to prove really what the marvellous work that Robert and Sue are doing. There's so many people here now. Right, myself then, if you like. So this is totally unexpected. I didn't really know I was speaking tonight, so But however, a lot of people have already seen me before. They've known me for quite some time, and they have indeed spoken quite a few times at some of the seminars that we've been to. My story goes back to 2014, where I had just a normal X-ray for an unrelated thing really, but that shown up on the X-rays of a shadow on the lung. This is what they said. So obviously after that was a biopsy. Was asked if they needed a biopsy just to find out what was going on. And of course, you know, the thing came back as, and again, sorry Mr. Nixon says, but yeah, you've got cancer. It's lung cancer, the top right hand corner of your right lung. And I'm sorry to say, it looks as though it's terminal. So I said, well, you know, how long really have we got? That's what, about 3 months. So you can imagine the kind of frame of mind I went from there. In fact, I was in such a frame of mind, I went to the nearest pub and got absolutely. And that's true. Next day, I don't really want this, you know, what's going on? And of course, we've already mentioned Kate Shemrani, who's not really godfather to her, but now I call her my surrogate daughter more than anything else. We've been friends for many years. And she pointed me in the right direction, first of all with apricot kernels. I started on those, having five a day, then moved up to 10 a day. In the end, after, 3 years, I was another 50 a day. So don't let anyone tell you that they're harmful, because they're not. I'm still here to prove it. Where did we get to? Oh yeah, with Kate. One important thing is, because they didn't know anything about it, how it's, as Robert mentioned, how it starts, how it progresses, or anything like that. So, got nothing else to do but sit down in front of a computer and start researching everything. So I researched and came across 1 or 2 websites, Robert's in fact, and another website called the Sea Oil Group, which I think 1 or 2 of you probably know anyway, where I managed to get all the information that I really needed and started to treat myself, really. Well, tell anyone I don't do really, but yeah, I started on cannabis oil. Started taking it in the evening, about 2 hours before going to bed. So if there were any highs, I was sleeping through it and woke up in the morning bright as rain, no problem. Okay, but then again, researching only found out really that only taking it orderly that way, you only get a certain amount of benefit from it, because the stomach acids take a lot of that away. So in fact, you're not really getting the full benefit of it by taking it orally. So I found out that by taking it rectally, not only do you get the whole benefit of the cannabis oil by doing it rectally. So I carried on doing that. During this time, I was having other X-rays, and my oncologist, in the end, one day she just said, Ronnie said, I don't know how you've done it, she says, but you know, it's not grown. In fact, I would say you're non-terminal now. That was after 3.5 years. It wasn't just that. I went on a massive diet, because believe it or not, I mean, I'm still a big fella, I suppose, but at one stage I was 28 stone. I've lost 10 stone, simply by being on a vegan diet. I also did hydrotherapy. Is it colonic hydrotherapy? Try saying that after a drink, but never mind, yeah. And in fact, she sat here. My therapist is here. If you need any questions, the wrist is sat down there. I've visited as much as I can, although now we moved up to Beverley. It's taken some time to get back down again. Unfortunately, just 2 or 3 months ago, I suffered a heart attack. And of course the DVLA got to find out about that, so they banned me from driving, so that's why it's been difficult to get down for the therapy, and why I've managed to get a grateful lift this evening to be here. I also did the oxygen therapy, the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I don't know if everyone knows about it, but certainly to get the blood oxygenated, get it through into the system, I'd certainly recommend that anyone does that too.
Some leaflets here if anyone wants oxygen therapy. It's very local.
Yeah, the place is in Nottingham, so it's easy to get to for people who are living locally. I have to go to the deep sea diving place in Hull if I want any of that. So really basically that's it. I'm standing here now that...
what did your oncologist say to you, Ron?
What did my oncologist say? The last one I went in, she said, Ron, I'm really surprised that you're still here actually. And she asked me what I've been doing, and I told her quite frankly, I said I've been taking cannabis oil. To which she was horrified and covered her ears up. Didn't want to know. But since then, I've seen her since then, and she said, "Ron, you're still going on. I understand what you've done. So things are moving on out there in the NHS. People do know about it." The other thing is, which I'll move off myself really to go on to my brother. My brother had always been against what I was doing. He said, no, you should listen to what the doctor says, listen to what the doctor says. I received a phone call from him one day, and he said, Ronnie, I've got to tell you, he said, I've got skin cancer. He said, what? I said, how long have you had that? He said, about 3 years. I said, 3 years and you've not let me know? He says, well, I didn't agree with what you were doing. I said, what they've been doing and what's the hospital been doing? He said, well, they've been giving me creams, but that's not done anything. He said, in fact, it's spread to the back, my back now. It was all over his chest. I went down to see him and he was absolutely covered. His chest was just a mass of black, horrible lesions, if you like. And he'd probably got around about half a dozen large ones on his back as well, so it was back and front. It looked a right mess. So I started, I recommended, I've got to watch what I'm saying here, haven't I? He asked me what to do, there's that. So I told him what to do really as far as applied it was concerned, which he did do. And he carried on doing that for 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, I rang him up 2 days ago, and he says, "Well, it's completely gone." So after 6 weeks from being covered from back and front with skin cancer, within 6 weeks, using cannabis oil, it had gone. He's seen his doctors, he's seen his oncologist, they couldn't believe it, and like an idiot, he said, "No," I said, "I followed my brother, what he did." I'm like, "Oh, right."
When you've been sentenced?
Yes, I've been sentenced. Yeah, I'll come out in 2 years' time. But yeah, they couldn't believe it. In fact, he's got a letter from his doctor where his doctor actually congratulated me for letting him know the benefits of cannabis oil. So really, folks, ladies and gentlemen, that's my story in a little bit of a nutshell, really. I mean, it's obviously a lot longer, but there's a lot more to get into tonight. So thank you for listening anyway.
Thanks, Ron. I really appreciate you coming. Okay, so as you can see, there's various people in this audience that are actually doing it. And so for those with cancer, can we ask the question, why not you as well? Why not? There's things that can be done. But you have to, if you notice, you have to do your own homework. You have to sort of, you can't be reliant on other people to sort your problems out. You have to do your own research, take responsibility, because no one can take responsibility apart from you, because there's no guarantees in this life, unfortunately. We're all terminal. That's the reality of things, but not just yet, we hope and pray. Yeah. Now, there's another lady, is Anne Devlin in the room yet? She said she'd be coming late, but around about 7 o'clock. Okay, so Anne will be coming a little later and sharing her testimony. Kate Allison Chemeroni, she had breast cancer, and she's doing really well, and she's really passionate in putting out the word to help people. She's very passionate in helping people, but she's got a few problems at home, so she wouldn't be able to come this evening, unfortunately. So we've got her planned on Kate giving her testimony as well. We have, I won't put it on Mick because it doesn't like getting up the front. Are you there? But do you mind if I just say a little bit about your story? Because it's quite, I was going to say comical, it's quite, in the fact that you took your daughter around the world or something on holiday, spent a lot of your money because she was given how long to live? 18 months? And you're still here 8 years later? Right, you ought to sue him. So why didn't I die 18 months ago? I've spent all my money now. So Mick's been coming to the meetings quite regularly, and you were diagnosed prostate cancer.
Yeah.
18 months to live, and you adopted some principles.
Yeah.
And to cut a long story short, you're still here today.
Yeah, apricot kernels.
Apricot kernels,
50 a day.
detoxification, 50 a day,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, what I would say with that, apricot kernels, I think that they're an amazing part of our armoury. Not everyone, sometimes they unsettle certain people's stomachs. Not many. I don't know many people that's affected, but I know a couple of people, in all the people that we know. And that might be due to other factors. It may be too much of the tumours breaking down all at once. It may be toxicity coming out of the body, and you assume that it's apricot kernels because they contain cyanide. And that's dangerous stuff, isn't it? Well, yes, it is. So apple pips, yes, pear pips, peach pips or nuts, and cherry pips. So it's in all these foods. But if you look at people like the Hunza-Kut tribe, they use apricot kernels as part of the staple diet. That's where a lot of the Himalayan apricot kernels come from. And cancer is non-existent in this place, and they live regularly till way over 100 years of age, according to the Blue Zones book, which is a book where these races, 18 different cultures around the world, have been scientifically studied for their longevity, and the fact that they don't have cancer. So they must be doing something right, and they're not being poisoned with the cyanide poisoning. So if you go on Cancer Research UK's website, then it tells you that you'll get this list of things that will happen to you if you eat apricot kernels because of the cyanide. You get droopy eyelids, you'll start being sick, you'll just vomit all over the place, you'll get nauseous and stomach cramps, and ultimately ending in death. I don't know anyone, and I know many people that have been taking them, but I really don't know anyone who's died through taking apricot kernels. But I can't say that blasé, because sometimes people might have an allergic reaction. They have allergic reactions to peanuts. Now, are peanuts harmful? Not to most. But for the one person that it might be harmful to, I can't go giving peanuts all out to this room. And likewise with apricot kernels, I can't say that they're going to be the right thing for everyone. They served a purpose, which we understood that purpose, and we used them. And many people use them as part of their armoury. And that's what I think these things are, part of the armoury, not the answer to cancer. Nothing is the answer to cancer. But when these things come together, then I believe that this body was created to be healthy. It wasn't created to be sick. And so let's get back to where we're eating natural foods, natural God-given foods, grown locally, organically, without all these agricultural chemicals that they spray on them. So these are important things to do. And that's just part of it. You know, you go into detoxification, the colon cleanse, liver cleanse, parasite cleanse, even heavy metal detox. And we supplement with vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is rife, especially in sunny England, or not so sunny England, because we're all covered up. And most cancer patients are vitamin D deficient, bar none. So these are all things that we need to get the biosis right, this dysbiosis that is going on in our guts. We need to sort that out. We need to get good bacteria going on here. But if you had antibiotics, if you've been drinking tap water with chlorine in it, then guess what? The chlorine, what does it do? According to Domestos, it kills all known germs dead. That's what the advert says. What's in here? Good bacteria. Good germs. So if we kill off all those, then the pathogenic bacteria starts taking over. And this is 80% of your immune system. So these are things that we addressed, and then some. So it's not an easy thing, but it's a simple thing. The concept is get back to nature. Kick out the processed foods, kick out the things that man has mucked and messed about with. You know, if it was made from a plant, eat it in abundance. If it was made in a plant, then forget it. You know, get that stuff out. Because as soon as man's put his mucky paws in the equation, it becomes corrupted. So everything, you know, I'm glad to see a glass bottle there. Well done. Better than mine the other week, mine was plastic. But plastics, we're in a plastic society, and this says it messes with your hormones. So let's get plastic things out of the equation. Don't have tin can things because there's a plastic in there. Which messes with your hormones, the BPA, BPS. So we getting back onto testimonials. Can you keep me on track, Sue, as well for timing? Because we've not got Anne Devlin here yet, and so I'm just going to run through a few testimonies that we've got that keep me on track for time, because I just lose it. So Mick's still here today. We're glad to see him here tonight. Yeah. So do you want to stand up, Mick, and just... No? Okay, we've got John Mackenzie. Now, we went to John and Emma's wedding up in, is it Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, Leeds? Yeah. We went there for their wedding, which was a beautiful day. And John was given, how long to live? He'd got 15 lung tumours. He'd got kidney cancer, which they took out his kidney, metastasised to his lungs, which he had 15 lung tumours. And he wasn't on board when we first started talking, because Emma was on board. And she's quite a formidable character. She's lovely. And what she said goes. But when he phoned me, I could tell that he wasn't really on board as such. But he listened. I think he was forced to listen. And he did some stuff, but then Emma, she made him come to the meeting, and they came together, and it was at the hyperbaric oxygen therapy in Nottingham. And we'd actually got the nutritionist lady who'd helped us when we were going through it, and we got her to give a talk about what she thought of our situation when we went to see her, and what she explained to us. And he came in, they both came in late, and they knocked a load of stuff over, and they made a grand entrance by knocking all the stuff over off projector, where the projector was. And they came in. That was standing room only, I think, on that night, wasn't it? It was quite a busy evening. And he met a lady named Bernie Walsh, who'd reversed her lung cancer, who sadly passed away afterwards. But you know, she didn't die of lung cancer. She got really healthy again, but she fell off the wagon. According to, yeah, we won't go into that. But he met Bernie, and eye to eye, he saw her, and from then, through speaking with her, that really kicked him into gear, and thought, I'm going for this. I think, again, that psychological advantage is to say, well, this isn't cloud cuckoo land. I can really empower myself. So he went away and put everything into place. And long story short, he doesn't have his lung cancer anymore. And we went to his wedding, was it 2.5 months ago? 3 months ago?
I've got a video of them on my Facebook wall if anyone wants to find them.
We have you can actually go onto YouTube, Active Cancer Therapy Support, and you can look down the list there and you can see their testimony where he came to the meeting afterwards and shared. It's only a few minutes, isn't it? But they were great, they were amazing. So, Christine Thackeray, ovarian cancer. She's done some wonderful things and she's out there helping other people now. There's one thing about this, is that it gives you a real heart, a real passion, when you've gone through it, to share what you've learned with others. And so that's one thing which we would ask. I want you guys to actually start putting on your own meetings. Bit blank there. But maybe you could just speak to your neighbour over the garden fence. Maybe you could speak to your family and the people that move in your circles. And so therefore you are an ambassador. You don't have to put on meetings, but we'll help you if you want to put on meetings. We'll try and give you some foundation for doing that. And you don't have to know everything to share some of the information with people. You can do that. What you've learned, what you will learn this evening from Patrick, you know, you can share. And a lot of it isn't rocket science. There is a lot to know, yes. But coming back to basics, eat what God created you to eat. And how simple is that? Eat carrots, freshly plucked, local, organic. And not the answer to cancer, but get all this stuff together and believe you can do it with maybe even sea oil, that naughty stuff that Ron Nixon keeps telling people about. And why not? People are doing this. You know, there's Colin Hazeldine, saliva duct cancer, Peter, tongue cancer, Stella Skidmore, who's in the room, womb cancer, Paul Skidmore, prostate cancer, Hart Binning, testicular cancer. These are all people that we know, and maybe we've not been part of the knowledge that we gave to them, but these are all people, some are, but these are all people that have done it. Christine Lewandowski, and it doesn't mean to say that some of these people have actually taken treatments, but they've included in natural principles of healing to support those treatments. So Christina Lewandowski, stage 2 bowel cancer, and she's fine now. Kurt Wilson, follicular lymphoma, progressed to high-grade non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they're a joy to see when you see them on the internet, on Facebook. What we'll do, that's a good idea, we'll have a bit of a break now, have a drink, go to the toilet, and then we'll come back with Patrick and we'll learn some stuff. How's about that? Okay? Oh, sorry.